Welcome into the Lucas and Lucas podcast. Yes, we are in person in Cleveland, Ohio. Lucas Frankel, Mike Lucas. Not only are we in person, we are matching, and it is quite the sight.
It was not intentional. I went to go pick up Frank from the airport about an hour ago, give or take, and I see him walk out. I look down, I go, well, go figure. I haven't seen him in person in about a year and a half. We haven't done a podcast in person in probably longer than that. And on our first reunion show, we are wearing pretty much damn near the same shirt. Frank's wearing shorts. I'm wearing jeans. It's not a complete matching outfit, but welcome to Cleveland.
Well, I have jeans. I can put jeans on.
Welcome to Cleveland. You brought the rain. Thanks. The Indians, Guardians, Yankees game. I owe $1 in the UCSS spin. The Guardians-Yankees game is in a rain delay. So we're going to do a little podcast now. Maybe another podcast someday. Who knows? From the UCSS studio. I might get in trouble for that. But guess what? I don't care. My boy Lucas Frankel is in Cleveland.
Yes, and the main purpose, obviously we're together, so we want to do this, but there's a very, very serious matter at hand. On Thursday at around 3 p.m. Eastern time, Kevin Durant did the one thing that we thought, hoped, and prayed he would never do. He requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets right as his new 4-year max contract is about to kick in. So we were under the assumption that Kevin Durant was going to be a Brooklyn Net for the next 4 years, and that appears to not be the case now. So we'll just start there. 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. The tweet from Shams, the bombshell tweet. I had to rub my eyes. Was I reading that correctly? What was your reaction when you heard this?
Well, you're the one that broke the news to me, which didn't help. I was in a meeting with Ian, who you had met earlier. He was going over all the numbers and projections for next month and all stuff that was genuinely important. And I picked up your phone. I saw it. I put it back down. And then about 10 seconds later, it actually hit me what I just read. And I cut off Ian. I said, Ian, I understand this is an important meeting. There's 6 of us on it right now. This is not about me, but Kevin Durant just requested a trade. I can't focus. If you see me looking like I'm about to cry, that's because I am. Continue with what you're doing, but just know that I'm going to have to go and ask about this again later. And, shout out to Ian for being such a good host and a good Tegna employee. He understood the drama I was going through. And then just go back on Twitter. I tweeted out part of our conversation. I called it the worst day of our lives. Maybe a little dramatic, maybe a touch, but I did a list. It's the 7th worst day of my life.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was shocking. It was an ultimate sucker punch because I thought that we had avoided disaster when on Monday we got the news that Kyrie was opting in because I thought we had avoided disaster. I thought that Kyrie had opted in, which means that Kevin Durant had a heart to heart with Nets management, but that wasn't the case. So I was completely blindsided when I saw that. But whenever stuff like this happens, my first inclination is who should I be angry at right now? Because there's a ton of people. The first thing that comes to mind is Kyrie Irving, because you could argue Kyrie Irving is the whole reason why this whole thing blew up. You could be mad at James Harden because James Harden was just in shape last year and didn't, dog his whole offseason and, first couple months of the season, he wouldn't have pulled his hamstring and would have been, an elite player when the Nets needed him to be on the court and not, playing on basically one leg because he couldn't move. You could also be mad at, Steve Nash for being a terrible coach. You could be mad at Sean Marks for,
you can be mad at everybody. It comes down to 2 things.
Who do we play? I need to know who I need to be the most angry at because in my eyes, it's very tricky. It's either James Harden. It's James Harden for being for abandoning ship so quickly and creating this trickle down effect, an avalanche of things. And then it's also about Kyrie Irving for just not getting a stupid shot. But Kyrie's the whole reason why Durant came here. So it's a very complicated range of emotions.
As you were doing that, I changed my answer. I honestly was going to say Kyrie. I think that's the easy target. He has caused so many headaches, but it's Durant. I'm actually mad at Durant for this because there's a couple of reasons. A, he had just accepted a 4-year extension, just signed
a year ago,
but committed to this team for 4 years, at least you think. And I am pro player 99 out of 100 times, and I am all for these guys wanting to get to a place where they feel like they can be surrounded with a team that can win a championship. And they're in free agency, go get your bread. In these situations where with Anthony Davis, where the Pelicans were unable to put together a team around him to compete. I understand the frustration and desire to get out. The reason I'm so mad at Kevin Durant is the Nets franchise has done literally everything that he has asked since the minute he stepped into their room. They hired the coach he wanted with no experience. Steve Nash was not an assistant. Steve Nash was never a head coach. Steve Nash is the Hall of Fame point guard who had never sat on a bench, and they made him the head coach of a team with 2 max players. They wanted James Harden. Kevin Durant wanted James Harden. They traded everything. I mean, they mortgaged the future for James Harden, and that did not turn out how they wanted. The only thing the Nets haven't done in 3 years that satisfied what Kevin Durant wants, allegedly, was give Kyrie Irving the maximum extension he wanted. And I understand.
But we don't even know that.
We don't know for sure. But here's the thing. If I'm the Nets, I am not doing it because Kyrie Irving is not there.
But if that means keeping Kevin Durant on your team, since you mortgaged the future and are now in this trap, my whole logic was you have to oblige everything that Kevin Durant does at this point until you get your first round picks back.
The question you asked is, who are you most mad at? I am mad at Durant because we had done everything, and I say we, the Nets. The Nets had done literally everything in their power except give a guy who refuses to play basketball for a myriad of reasons a 4-year extension worth $200 million. Bill Simmons had a stat, and I'm stealing your stat here.
Don't tell me about the whole Steve Nash and Dwight Howard and Kobe played more games.
Well, they did. But in 3 years, KD and Kyrie played 44 games together. In 3 seasons, they played 44 games. They averaged 11 games on the court together a season. So as a Nets fan, I understand why they are so hesitant to give a max extension to a guy who isn't reliable. He's played like 104 games in his Nets career. So listen, you asked who I'm mad at. I think you could blame Kyrie Irving. I'm mad at Durant because they did everything that they should have done, including not giving Kyrie an extension. Kyrie does not deserve the extension. He's a wizard on the court, but he's there for 24% of the games. Like, you don't give that kind of guy who's that unreliable that much money. So I don't blame the Nets for being like, hey, KD, we love you. We've done everything for you, but we have to draw a line in the sand at some point. And the line in the sand we're drawing is $200 million for a guy who's played in 44 games with you in 3 seasons, who wouldn't get vaccinated, who caused all this drama before.
Right. But that's why, though. So the number one person that you just answered your own question, it's Kyrie Irving, because if he would have just gotten the stupid shot, then James Harden would
retroactively, in the long run, who am I most mad at? It's Kyrie. But you ask now, who am I most mad at? It's Durant.
Yeah, all right. So you're mad at both of them, and for different reasons.
Yes, exactly.
But on the hierarchy, Durant is 1 and Kyrie's 2.
I think I'm more mad at Durant because I expected more from him.
He honestly, Durant, let's call it what it is. He's soft.
I won't call him soft. I still love him.
All right. He was in a situation in Oklahoma City where, they were up 3-2 on the Warriors.
Ooh, Lightning.
They were up 3. You always get fucking, distracted by the damn lightning. I didn't even see the lightning, but there's a video going on at the Brown Stadium for some reason. I'm wondering if maybe it's a movie show. I don't know. Either way. Kyrie, what was I talking about, Kyrie? Oh, Kevin Durant.
You called him soft. Which I disagreed with.
All right, so
if you want to come on the podcast, we'll gladly have you on.
So here's the story. So the Thunder were up 3-1 on the Warriors in 2016, 3-1, 3 games to 1. They were 1 win away from the NBA Finals. That blew the 3-1 lead to the Warriors. And Kevin Durant, after losing that series, decided that he wanted to go to the Warriors as a competitor. That's just one of the lamest mentalities you could ever have. I know this is not like a scolding hot take, but like as a competitor, as someone who like goes out there every day and wants to like be the best person you could be, after you just like got a devastating loss, your first inclination is to be like, man, I'll just join them. Like that's such a loser's mentality. And then he forces his way wants to team up with Kyrie Irving and like wants to win a championship on his own terms. And, as sort of you outlined, made all these moves and was like, I'm not a fan of what I've done. I want to leave. But not only that, he wants to continue playing with Kyrie Irving. So like, it's not like he's realized that Kyrie Irving is his problem. He hasn't even, that rationalization has still not gone through his head, which is appalling.
Which is why I'm more mad at him, because the Nets did the right thing and he can't see that they're trying to help him out. He's
just like, I need to leave. It's all these NBA guys are just like, James Harden was like, the second something wasn't 100% right with the Nets, he's like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm out. I can't do this anymore. And now Kevin Durant's like, I don't really like what I've created. So I'm gonna abandon ship. I'm telling you, he's so soft. He is one of the best scorers of the basketball, probably maybe the best pure scorer of the basketball I've ever seen. He's the best mid-range jumper I have ever seen. But Mike, I think, I don't know. I can't, maybe he's a top 20 player of all time, but like, I don't know. I'm just, my whole opinion of Durant has just completely changed. And
that's valid. For the record, that's valid. Like
he doesn't, listen, the Warriors did, as we just saw, they didn't need Kevin Durant to win a championship. They didn't need Kevin Durant to be a championship caliber team. Like, he's never, I don't know. Obviously, the Thunder made the finals in 2012, and he was a big part of that. But KD has never been, as Charles Barkley always says, the bus driver. He's always been, he thrives best in a bus rider mode. He can never be the alpha on the team.
But that's, hold on. He almost took James Harden on one leg, Joe Harris having an abysmal shooting performance, and the rest of the Nets team who's never dreamt of a playoff series.
I question how great of a leader. I don't think he's a great leader.
And maybe that's fair, but let's not say he can't be the driver. He was this close to taking the Nets to a championship last season. This close.
So literally
with nobody.
So literally the date was January 12th. We were actually thinking about going to Chicago. And that was the day the Nets beat the Bulls 138-112. That was the first game all season that Kyrie, Harden, and Durant all played together.
It was amazing.
It was euphoric. It felt like we had won the championship that night. And it's crazy to believe that those three guys only played 16 games together. They went 13-3. And it felt like that night, if you would have told me that, we would come to June 30th and Harden would be gone, Durant would have requested a trade, and Kyrie would be falling right behind both of them, I was like, I don't know how I would react. Like,
listen, hold up. It didn't hit me until you just said that right there. And I'm going to ask you a question, and the answer I think is going to be neither of us can figure out how. What was the date?
January 12th.
In less than 6 months, the Nets went from having James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant to having nothing.
I mean, they could still. Like,
but you know what I'm saying? In 6 months, this is not 3 seasons. They lost 3. This is half of 1 calendar year.
Less than that.
Less than that. They went from having 3 future Hall of Fame talent or 3 Hall of Fame caliber players. Irving, yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't put Kyrie in the Hall of Fame, but
different debate. But I agree. But different debate. 3 guys who talent-wise are Hall of Fame guys to now. Is that the fastest mass exodus of a team of all time?
I mean, that's what everyone's saying. The history of the league, I can't really.
History of sports.
I mean, maybe like a super team that just completely just dissolved that quickly. Maybe, yeah. So, in your mind, what sparked Kevin Durant to request this trade? Was it as simple as they weren't obliging by Kyrie Irving? Is that as simple? Is it as simple as that? Because if it's as simple as that, then KD's just his logic in life is just extremely questionable.
I don't know, and I hadn't thought of when I first heard it. My initial gut thought was KD is tired of Kyrie. He baited him to re-signing that extension or opting in, and then deciding all of a sudden I'm leaving, and now Kyrie.
All right,
can't
so the
follow
Guardians
me.
game has been postponed. Will be a split doubleheader starting tomorrow. So, all right, so we're good. So we're gonna win the later game tomorrow, and the first game starts at noon.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, breaking news. Thank you very much. But as I was saying, my initial thought was that he mind tricked Kyrie into re-signing so he could get out, and Kyrie couldn't follow him. But now all the reports say that's not the case, that they still want to play together, just don't want to do it in Brooklyn. And once again, that begs the question of what did they do? Like, I don't know what Brooklyn did wrong that all of a sudden a place that they agree, like they hired the coach they wanted. They got rid of.
They must have. I think what it was, Mike, was that he was under the assumption that that Harden and Kyrie would be both signing, 4-year extensions, and now he looks around and he's the only one who signed up, and the other guys didn't follow.
But the crazy part, James Harden just signed a deal that was team friendly for Philadelphia.
Well, he hasn't signed it yet. He's meeting with them this weekend.
He's gonna trust me. He's gonna sign this one. Just trust me on this one. That will be a done deal. Of all the people to be not selfish, to be team oriented, it's James freaking Harden. Who are we living in bizarre? What world are we living in?
For what it's worth, in that, so Harden was traded to the Nets in, I believe, January of 2021. So in that, 4-month period, he was the model teammate. James, listen, for the rest of our lives, my favorite net of all time will be James Harden from January 2021 through May 2021.
He's unbelievable. He's the best player in the league.
He was going to win the MVP if he didn't hurt his hamstring.
Yeah.
I mean, he was that special, and he was doing everything for the team. So like this whole, I mean, like James Harden obviously always ends up showing his true colors, and it always comes to that. But there are stretches of time where he is as locked in and as committed as any player in the league. And if you can get, I mean, who knows if Harden will ever be the same, because he hasn't been the same since he hurt his hamstring. And obviously you're seeing the reports now that he's focused on his conditioning. I mean, do you, so, all right, that begs the question. So what version of James Harden are we going to see? 2018 James Harden that averaged, 40 points a game?
No.
Or
No.
is what do you expect? What is James Harden going to be the rest of his career, or this next season at least?
I mean, I think he's an all-star caliber player, but not the all-pro MVP James Harden that we saw for the better portion of the last decade. I mean, I just think we saw last year with Brooklyn. He could say he was out of shape. His hamstring was still bothering him. It took a whole season. It doesn't take that long for a hamstring to heal. Even in Philadelphia, the explosiveness and the ability to get by defenders wasn't there. So I think we see a more facilitator first James Harden. And the reason I think that is, I don't think he takes a lesser contract if he doesn't believe that he has to change the way he plays to help this team win, or he doesn't believe that that is what is best to help this team win. And if he's willing to take less money, I tend to believe that he's willing to play a little differently to maximize the potential of a Tyrese Maxey, of making sure Embiid gets all the touches necessary, to make sure the other guys who didn't touch the ball as frequently can get in a little rhythm earlier. So I think James Harden will be pretty damn good next year, but I don't think it's going to be like MVP. Like, I don't think the days of him as an MVP candidate are even remotely within the realm of possibility.
We'll see. I hope so. But when the Nets traded Harden, when that day arrived, I had accepted the fact that this is the best move for the Nets because Harden had just basically stopped trying. He was checked out. And I thought that if they would have gotten Ben Simmons to sort of take his place, and you add, a Seth Curry to that with Durant and Kyrie, and I think that was before Joe Harris was ruled out for the season, but like theoretically what that team would have looked like with Simmons and Kyrie and Durant and Seth Curry and Joe Harris and, Nick Claxton and, Bruce, like that team was going to like be really exciting to watch. And, Ben Simmons would have been such an incredibly important piece of that team because he could have been the quarterback of the offense, running around, finding open Durant, finding open Kyrie, and just, it would have been, I was really excited to see him be the quarterback of that offense. Now the fact that we're never going to get to see it, it's frustrating.
And we talked about this earlier today. It's not like this Nets team with KD and Kyrie wasn't set up to compete, not just in the Eastern Conference, but for an NBA title. If Simmons, and I use 60%, I hope he's much, much higher. I hope he's back to 85, 90, 100, 150% of when we last saw Ben Simmons at the form he was playing at. But you had Ben Simmons to KD to Kyrie to Joe Harris to Nick Claxton to Cam Thomas to Seth Curry. That's a squad.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's a squad. That's a damn squad. Like, you can win with those guys. And it's not like it was back in OKC and he's rebuilding with Lou Dort. Like no offense, Lou Dort, you're really good. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's a squad, bro.
Why can't?
That's why I'm so mad.
Why can't Durant and Kyrie just play out the season, give it just say, listen, all right, obviously this isn't going sort of, I guess, as we 100% would have planned, but listen, Kyrie, Durant needs to come to the realization that Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving and has, done things that are pretty unforgivable, like not getting the vaccine and not being available for his team for whatever reason. Like that, to me, that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
And for him to not even recognize what, and listen, even when Kyrie was great when he was playing once a week, but when he was playing, 3 or 4 games a week, he couldn't hold up. He had a great game 1 against the Celtics, but was a complete zero the rest of that series. But I don't understand why Durant couldn't have just been like, all right, listen, I'll give this one more year. Kyrie's got one more year here because he opted in. I thought they had met and were like, listen, let's give this one more shot. And if it doesn't work, I'll request a trade. I'm Kevin Durant. I could do that whenever I want. Kyrie will be gone. We can team up again and do it somewhere else. That seems like such a plausible solution to all of this. And now we saw that Kyrie tweeting out the bird being let out of its cage, which is sort of a nail in the coffin on like any hope
they're gone.
There's any sort of point of real reconciliation here. So they're both going to be gone. But I was really hoping that like Kyrie would adapt sort of the Aaron Judge mentality where like, all right, you don't think I could like do this? Well, guess what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to show you why I am one of the 75 best players of all time, why I deserve to be given a max contract extension. Like, you don't believe me? Watch this. Yeah. And the fact that like they're just being like, all right, they don't believe in us, we're out. Like, I know there's player pound in the NBA, but man, come on.
It sucks. Like it sucks. Let's talk about Celtics. Like,
I don't want to talk about this. The Celtics have made every. I mean,
all right. So if we skip them and talk about the Knicks real quick, then.
I don't know. I mean, who cares? The Knicks are pathetic. They went all in on the summer of Jalen Brunson and Isaiah Hartenstein. Pathetic. Pathetic.
Franco was making the rundown right before right before we started this, and I just see the Knicks and Hartenstein. I'm like, you really want to do a whole topic about Hartenstein? I forgot they signed Brunson, and that makes sense.
But all right, the last thing I don't really want to talk about the Knicks, other than it's so Knicks fans should be embarrassed at their whole summer based around Jalen Brunson because he's never going to make an All-Star team. I don't know what you hope to achieve with him. Either way. So the last thing before we go,
trades, KD trades. We got to do that real quick.
Yeah. So obviously trading Kevin Durant and maybe Mike. We're just going to count the days here, and every day that we wake up in the morning, Kevin Durant is still in net is a blessing. He hasn't been traded yet as of 7:47 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, July 1st. So as of now, he is still a Brooklyn net, unless something happened while we were not looking at Twitter. But
no, my phone isn't buzzed yet. No.
But so the Nets are going to try, or at least every inclination seems to be that they're going to trade Kevin Durant, and obviously that begs the question: what are they going to get in return? There are two options that come to mind. And it seems that Kyrie and KD are a package deal. So my number one option would be sending them to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Anthony Edwards, who I think is going to potentially win multiple MVPs in this league and has a Hall of Fame caliber path ahead of him. I think Edwards is an absolute just freak of nature in every conceivable way. After that, my other option would be, sending them to New Orleans for Zion Williamson and I don't know, CJ McCollum, maybe if they would accept that. And then you put those two guys, Brandon Ingram and whatever other pieces that team has. Those are my top two trades I would be, I guess, happy with. I don't want to send them to the Suns and DeAndre and Mikal Bridges and picks like that. Just nothing.
You need Booker. You're going Suns. You need Booker.
But Kevin Durant's not going to do that if Booker's not there.
I'm just saying.
And I'm not trading him to an Eastern Conference team. I'm just not doing it.
I don't know if there's anyone like the Heat. I don't like any of the pieces.
I am not doing a Tyler Hero for Kevin Durant trade. That is not happening. That is unacceptable. And if that happens, I'm rescinding my fandom.
I don't like that whatsoever. I don't know who else in the Eastern Conference is even a potential.
I mean, the Celtics theoretically have pieces, a Jaylen Brown centered trade, but I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I would. There's no way.
Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams and like maybe a couple first round picks for Durant. Like,
I don't think they have any more first round picks. They gave one to the Spurs. They just traded one. Yeah, I'm not sure how many first round picks they have, but yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I think we talked about this earlier. Anthony Edwards, Gobert, and 8 first round picks, and you have a deal. That's it.
And 8 first round picks. I mean, Anthony Edwards. I mean,
No, you're right. If we're getting Anthony,
I don't even need any first round picks if you're giving me Anthony Edwards.
No.
Like a team with Simmons, Anthony Edwards, Gobert, Seth Curry, and Joe Harris. That'd be an incredibly fun team to watch and a likable team.
It is, but listen, if you're giving up a top 20 player of all time.
But all right.
And you're getting back Anthony Edwards, who has star potential.
But he flashed hard last year.
No, but you still need more back than just one.
I mean, if the Timberwolves are willing to give more stuff up, but if
I take Anthony Edwards and 3 first round picks and call it a deal.
For just Kevin Durant?
Just Kevin Durant straight up.
But Kyrie's going to want to be a part of that.
Well, we can figure out that situation later. If Kyrie's part of that, Ant Edwards, Gobert, and 3. No, listen, Gobert just got 5 first round picks, 5 unprotected first round picks. Kevin Durant's worth 7 to 8 by himself alone.
Because what the Timberwolves need to realize is that a team with D'Angelo Russell, Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, and like obviously Anthony Edwards is great, but like that's not like
that's a 7 seed in the West.
Like that's like a 4 or 5 seed if everything goes well.
If everyone stays, yeah.
because you got the Warriors and the Suns who are automatically, at the top of the conference. Lakers theoretically, I guess, should be better next year. So then you're automatically competing for 4.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
So all right, go to your head now.
Last point.
How does this get resolved?
The Nets trade Kevin Durant to the Suns, and we don't get back Booker, and we're both very upset. Honestly, that's how I see it.
I mean,
and they trade Kyrie to the Lakers for Westbrook, which I hate for Westbrook, Taylor Horton Tucker, and like 2 2031 and a 2027 pick. I hate both those deals. I would be livid if that's
what are the chances that the Nets they just don't say anything for like a week? Let this just
die,
settle, and
hope that no one remembers it ever happened. That's Men in Black
and rest. And then Kevin Durant's and the Nets say listen, Kevin,
do the Nets have to trade him?
No,
they don't have to, right?
No. I mean, so Durant has leverage in the sense that he can say to the Nets, you can say to the team that he would be getting traded to. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to be so miserable there that you're not going to want me, and that would just ruin any potential good trade. So it's basically Kevin Durant has leverage in the sense that he can sort of dictate where he wants to go because it's the NBA and stars have so much power. It's not like in other leagues where you trade someone and they're forced to play there. So they're not 100% they don't have to do it.
It's gonna happen, but
it's gonna. I mean, part of me hopes that there's gonna be a point of reconciliation here, and they could just they just make a deal. Kevin, Kyrie, let's just whatever the past is the past. Let's just go out there for one season, give it everything we got, and then after this season, if you're still miserable and happy you don't want to be here, then we will happily send you wherever you want to go. That would make me happy, and I think them happy, and I think that would be.
Give it one run. Just give it one run. I promise you'll love Ben Simmons. I promise you will.
And the other thing that no one's talking about is the fact that you probably can't have Devin Booker and Ben Simmons on the same team.
I did not think of that.
I think they were dating.
I did not think of that. Yes, they were.
Because they were dating the same Kardashian.
That is what a plot twist. Well, so is Jordan Clark. Well, the Nets should just trade. The Nets should find a way to get everyone that. Whatever the Kardashian, no, it's not Courtney. It's Kendall.
Khloe, Courtney.
No, Kendall. Yeah. They should find a way to get every Kendall Kardashian NBA boyfriend on one team. That's actually what I do. And also one more trade proposal. I saw Leo Sepkowitz, former Emerson guy, tweeted it out. What if the Nets just somehow find a way to get Karis LeVert, D'Angelo Russell, Torian Prince, just get the whole Jared Allen, just get the whole squad back.
So the other trade would be Durant and Kyrie to the Cavs. For
Mobley, Garland.
They would want one of those pieces there. So if it was for Garland, LeVert,
Mobley's the only one.
Garland, LeVert, and Allen, and 4 first-round picks and swaps starting in 2027 after their contracts expire.
I would want Mobley over.
I think honestly, I mean, what is Mobley gonna be? Kevin Garnett? What is Evan Tim Duncan? What do you see him as?
Tim Duncan. I think he's really, really good. I think he's stupid good.
We'll see. I don't know.
Stupid good. He's the kind of guy that.
But I feel like in order for that trade to work, Durant and Kyrie would need Mobley. So that's why I think if you're able to get Garland, LeVert, and Allen, for those two, and just get back to that culture that Durant was so attracted to at the time, that would be exciting. But that will do it for this edition of the Lucas and Lucas podcast. A very special edition of the Lucas and Lucas podcast. See you all next week at some point. Hopefully, Kevin Durant is still a Brooklyn Net at that point.